Good morning, everybody, and thank you for joining us today. For those who don't know me, my name is Chris Howard, and I'm the CRO of Inpute, and I've been involved in delivering document management and IDB solutions now since the mid-90s. I'm delighted to welcome you on behalf of Inpute to this important webinar. I've seen a lot of software in my time, and I'm particularly excited to present this partnership between mFiles and Microsoft for you today. Over the past 25 years, Inpute has been built a reputation as a trusted partner in helping organizations modernize the way they manage their documents, the process, and the information. Our clients come from a wide range of sectors, from public sector to semi-private sectors, retail, transport, utilities, and manufacturing. But we all have one common challenge: how to turn the growing volume of data into something that drives value, rather than creates risks or inefficiencies. Today, we're here to talk about an exciting new chapter in that story: how Inpute, mFiles, and Microsoft are coming together to reshape the future of document management. For many years, organizations have relied heavily on Microsoft 365, be it Word, Excel, PowerPoint, SharePoint. But now we've got Microsoft Teams as our daily workspace. It's the digital home of how people write, collaborate, and communicate. But we all know the limitations. Files get buried in endless folder structures. We have links to documents, which is my pet hate, in emails, or posts in Teams. Everyone has their own naming convention. You search for something and you find 3, sometimes 5 versions of the same document. And you're never quite sure where the document is or what's the most updated version. Compliance also adds another layer of difficulty. Permissions in SharePoint can be complex to configure, maintain at scale. Retention rules are often inconsistent, and audit trails hard to assemble when regulators or auditors come knocking at our door. And then there's the human factor. How many of us have spent time, has time to care to admit trying to track down the latest contract version, the latest draft of a proposal template? It's not just frustrating, it's costly. Studies have suggested that knowledge workers spend up to 20% of their time searching for and recreating documents. That's 1 in 5 days not spent on strategic work, but on hunting down for files. These challenges only grow as the organization expands. Multiple departments, multiple team channels, external collaborations with suppliers and clients, all of those increase the risk of duplication, errors, and silos. And this is really at the heart of the issue. Microsoft gives us a place to work, but not the intelligence to manage what we create. Without that intelligent layer, content management remains manual, error-prone, and reactive. That's exactly the gap at Inpute we're trying to bridge. The answer lies in 3 things: innovation, alignment, and outcome. First of all, innovation. Well, mFiles is recognized as a leader in Gartner and the Forrester reports. The latest development and native integration with Microsoft 365 using SharePoint Embedded is genuinely a first in the industry. It means mFiles isn't competing with Microsoft, it's enhancing it. Secondly, alignment. Inpute's clients overwhelmingly run their businesses on Microsoft 365. By combining that with mFiles, we can give them best of both worlds. Microsoft as a familiar workspace, and mFiles as the intelligent layer that combines content manageable, compliant, and actionable. And finally, outcomes. Partnership only matters if you deliver results. And we've seen with our customers that mFile reduces wasted time, lowers compliance risks, and drives real cost savings. Combining that with Microsoft Copilot, the benefits are even more compelling, and we'll be showing you that later on, because AI is only as good as the information it can access. And mFiles ensures that that information is accurate, organized, and secure. So Inpute's role. Well, at Inpute, our role is to bridge the gap between the technology and the business needs. We don't just implement software, we work with you to understand your processes, your compliance requirements, and your strategic objectives. With our expertise in intelligent document processing, workflow automation, and Microsoft Power Platform, We can deliver solutions that combine the Microsoft and M-Files in a way that fits your organization. Whether that's accounts payable, HR records, contract life cycle management, compliance workflows, our team designs, implements, and supports solutions that deliver measurable value. This webinar is a chance to show how Inpute, M-Files, and Microsoft partnership that makes that possible. Over the next 40 minutes or so, you'll hear from three perspectives. Firstly, I've just set the stage with the business context and why we partnered with Microsoft and M-Files to deliver the solution. Secondly, my colleague Nigel Houghton from M-Files will share product vision and how M-Files and Microsoft now work together. Nigel, as I mentioned, is from M-Files. He's the Senior Director of Strategic Alliances for EMEA and has a responsibility for cooperating with Microsoft. With an engineering background, Nigel has worked in the IT and software sector since the mid-90s. Finally, then, you'll get to see the exciting bit. You'll see a live demonstration of how integration improves collaboration, governance, and AI readiness in actual practice. We'll also leave time at the end for your questions. So we have added a Q&A function. Thank you for joining us. We at Inpute are genuinely excited about this partnership, what this partnership presents, not just for us, but for all of us. This is about unlocking the full potential of Microsoft 365 with intelligence of M-Files. Move beyond simple storing documents to truly managing and leveraging them. SharePoint is where documents live, and M-Files is how they are managed. So let's get started. So over to you, Nigel, for the presentation.
Excellent. Thank you very much for the warm welcome. And just to explain, I am from M-Files. I'm actually sitting in the London Abbey office today because I'm meeting with a partner. We have many joint customers together, so we have these partner meetings. So M-Files, and I'm delighted to be here. So let me take you through a few slides that are prepared for you today, and make sure I can see them as well. Good. Right. So I've been working for M-Files for a while, but I've been working with Microsoft as a partner for the last 10 years, and so navigating what Microsoft can do is a key part of my role. But before I do that, I wanted to just jump into a little bit about M-Files, because you might not be au fait with what M-Files can do. M-Files is changing the way that customers think about their files and documentation. So if we look at another example, let's look at Spotify as an example of how we find music now in a modern way. We don't dig into a folder structure. We now have effectively metadata that is linking artists and albums together to make it easy to find and to curate and to create playlists and things like that. So we're starting to get used to this scenario where we're finding content in a different way. And what we've done with M-Files is creating this metadata structure. So by being able to identify what documents are, it allows us to give context to them. So for example, you can see on this example, it's not just the file name. It is the fact that inside the document, it tells us who the client is, what the project is, when the date is, who's responsible, and you can link all of that together inside the M-Files metadata system. So the metadata piece is a key aspect of it, and it creates this the answer to many questions that we hear from our customers and our prospective customers around the difficulties that they're having. And the first one is pretty common. It's that information chaos. Chris summed it up really nicely about having multiple versions, multiple naming conventions, and it's down to really where people end up storing a file, but then you're liable also for people to create copies, store them locally, send the wrong version to a customer, and those areas. So that slows everything down. People trying to find the right copy, double checking with legal that they do have the right version, that it's a signed version. All of these things slow down that particular process. And the bit that I'm really interested in is the business risk. So the risk of sharing the wrong document creates a lot of additional costs. So I had a customer, they're in the manufacturing sector, had sent the wrong design files to their supplier, who created or manufactured these metal parts that were the wrong parts. So they had to start all over again and create the right parts, and then put them on an expedited thing to get them shipped quickly because they were holding the project up. So little instances like that we're solving every day. And when we look at some of the consulting companies in this space, they say that about half of all organizations don't really have a solution that gets over this. So what we created is this piece around automation as well. So we are especially good at where customers have documentation processes. So automatically organizing those documents based on, like I said before, the customer or the project or the status. Is it a current customer or and we can do that in a number of different ways. But creating workflows is a big part of what we help our customers do to make sure that they have everything in place, that there's a straightforward process of being able to collect all of the documents into a single view. And then also automating things like permissions. So the fact that it is for a particular customer means that it only gets exposed to the people that are involved with that customer. So you don't get this leakage of client information to other parts of the business. So again, we go back to this process that we file. We recognize documents based on what they are rather than where they are, and that gets rid of a lot of the overall issues. And so what it means to our customers, we had a Forrester Total Economic Impact report done, is that they are spending 50% less time searching for information, much better saving in terms of the efficiency of workflow processes, and a 2/3 increase in better filing of documents as well. And this will all come out in the demo that I'll show you. But that's the background of the M-Files piece. And what I'm going to talk about is the specifics with Microsoft in particular. And to do that, I need to start again from the beginning, which is that we've always been a Windows OS-based product. We've integrated with Office applications. Clearly, you want to be able to edit documents, create documents in your normal place of work, which is Microsoft Office. We interact with SharePoint and can create views in SharePoint. We can help customers extract documents straight from emails and even save those emails. And also provide views from Teams. And we're seeing Teams now being the #1 place of work for a lot of people. And again, I'll show you some of that Teams integration a bit later on. We have a cloud offering, a SaaS offering. It's exclusively based in Azure. It is optimized to run in Azure. And as part of that also, we have a Copilot connector, which allows us to use Copilot to extract information from individual documents. So that use case of AI around documentation is extremely valuable. And having Copilot aimed at a curated set of documents is especially valuable as well. And so this year, July the 1st, we announced this new strategic partnership with Microsoft, because effectively what we've done is we've taken the storage layer that we had and we've replaced that with a technology called SharePoint Embedded. Now, to explain SharePoint Embedded, it's the headerless version of SharePoint. It's just you connect to it through API calls, and you use and it's the same technology that things like Loop and Notes uses. within the Microsoft ecosystem. So that's what we're doing. The important thing is that SharePoint embedded container is placed inside your Azure tenant. And once the content is inside your tenant, that allows us to do some pretty special things. And I'll explain that in a subsequent slide. So the partnership with Microsoft is about combining that system of work, which Microsoft 365 is, with the system of record, which mFiles is, without having to compromise. And I'll explain what I mean by that. So because we're storing content in your tenant on SharePoint Embedded, you'll get native access to those documents. And it validates mFiles now as the document management system of choice for Microsoft. And so where you're looking at document management system use cases in particular vertical industries, things like quality management systems, customer information, contract management, those styles are those types of use cases that mFiles have got pre-built solutions for. You're adding that really on top of the existing Microsoft platform and on top of SharePoint. And so it's enhancing your investment of 365, and it's allowing future innovation of Microsoft technologies with mFiles. And again, I'll show you a little bit about the roadmap and where that's taking us. So you're going to be fully aware of OneDrive. You use it to save your documents. I use it to save my documents and have them online. I use SharePoint as well to create as a backend for Teams, where we create teams and libraries and intranet pages. And again, many of you will do the same thing. But with mFiles, when it comes to specific industry use cases, in manufacturing, in local government, in financial services, professional services are the key ones. We've got these out-of-box solutions that allow you to do that. And what mFiles does is also connect to your external business applications as well. So ERP and CRM systems. So we can import your, some customer information. And what we'll effectively do by that is create a digital twin of your business processes. And then that allows you easy filing of documents based on, again, which customer they belong to, or which project they belong to in a manufacturing sense. So having that kind of live update of the digital twin of your business then allows you to file and then find information very, very quickly. So I spoke about this thing about native. What does native mean? You've got the native experience where the documents are sitting inside your tenant, and then you've got connections and integrations for content that's sitting outside of Azure and outside of your tenant. And the first big one that we talk about is collaboration and co-authoring, because having documents inside your tenant allows you to do desktop co-authoring. And I don't know about you, but I much prefer to use desktop applications when I'm using Word and PowerPoint. Much better experience than using the web version that I've had to use so far. So that's a really big tick. And that's the thing that I say about there's no compromise. Your users will be used to collaborating now. They've probably been collaborating for a number of years. And introducing a document management system has meant that some of those collaboration features start disappearing. So for the first time, we're in a Microsoft environment, you now have mFiles as the only vendor that allows you to continue doing co-authoring in the desktop environment and providing that document management solution functionality. The second key area is in Copilot. And Copilot will connect to existing mFiles information, which is currently sitting outside of the tenant, as do many, many other systems. And they use this process or indexing to the Microsoft graph, which is effectively like a plain text version of your documents that you're presenting, and then Copilot can actually, query that graph. But it has a number of limitations. I mean, first of all is the fact that there's a maximum file size of 4 megabytes. I mean, most of my files are more than 4 megabytes right now. There's a performance issue, the number of connection issue. And so having it natively allows you to do a lot more, a lot more performance, but also allowing you to do things like analyzing spreadsheets. So for financial spreadsheets to get, and Copilot does that extremely well. There's a lot more that Copilot can do. And the third area is around Purview, so that security framework. So we will have a bidirectional connection with Purview to layer the M-Files security policies with Purview security policies, as well as allowing M-Files to take advantage of things like Purview encryption, malware scanning, anti-malware scanning, and sensitivity labels. So you can then create a joint framework or security framework of not just your SharePoint files, but also your DMS files. And again, that has to be M-Files for you to be able to take advantage of that. Okay. So that's me doing a lot of talking, and it's the first time you've met me, but I wanted to give you the angle from Microsoft. And I do like, there is a web link which is aka.ms/mfiles. So it's an official Microsoft link. But Ian Story is our key contact there. He's the principal architect for OneDrive and SharePoint Embedded. And you can see what he says here, that we're that missing piece of providing these industry solutions for document management that Microsoft has been waiting for a long time. So I'm more than happy to share some more of those quotes and information on the Microsoft website to show you how M-Files is being endorsed in that way. And then my last slide is around the roadmap. And so again, in those three key areas, we want customers to get better value out of Copilot, better value out of Purview, and more collaboration with the co-authoring piece as well. So the bits that you can read this slide, but the bits that I'll pick out are things like here in the bottom right-hand corner, this ability to co-author with external users as well is important, because we have a system where we're able to share and co-author documents with external users, and bringing that collaboration in is really important. So think of a manufacturing customer that's got a quality management, and they'll have loads of contractors that aren't on their particular Entra ID, so there's a lack of the ability to let them share. So you're ending up emailing copies and then getting emails back of having a single file that's available to those contractors in a secure way. But Copilot is the big one. People are going to be using an AI tool, and if that AI tool provides additional value, and again, I've told you that documentation piece is extremely valuable. We're working on a large number of projects right now to improve the quality of answers that come back from Copilot. Today, when you've got this SharePoint sprawl and you've got lots of documents and lots of versions of documents, a lot of the time Copilot comes back telling you that you've got lots of documents, but will quite often come back with inaccurate answers based on older versions of documents that they've found in other areas of the business. So, having that curated content at the back end, which is what M-Files document management does, it gives you a lot better guarantee of getting the right answers all of the time. All right, so let's stop talking about it. Chris, I can't see my screen, but if there are any questions,
No,
you can.
we have a couple of questions, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold those to the end. So
Okay.
Let's go on to, and so we're going to slightly change it. So Nigel's just going to start off the demonstration, and myself and Chris will will come in during this session before we wrap it up then with a Q&A. So quite excited to see the M Files and Microsoft work together, specifically mainly around the AI. So just about the Ian story bit is, I was at the M Files conference in May, and I met Ian, and I actually going to one of the events. I was in a bus sitting with him for half an hour, and we had a long conversation. And for a guy who's the technical architect or the principal architect for SharePoint and OneDrive, quite passionate about this integration, and he was filling me in about how other organizations do it who are not authorized, and how easy it is to orphan documents. And he was making the point that with the advent of Copilot and customers looking for the ability of interacting or searching for documents using Copilot, it's so important to make sure that the right platform, the right connection is there, because it's quite easy, it turns out, in SharePoint to orphan documents. And he was explaining all this to me, but here's a man very, very passionate about it. And in the pack that we'll be sending around after this, including a copy of this demonstration or presentation, we'll also include some of the video content of Ian being interviewed and explain from Microsoft's perspective about the advantages of this particular new relationship. So, demonstration time.
Okay.
Always a tricky one. We're doing live demonstrations.
Exactly. Yeah. What could possibly go wrong? But anyway, this is the web version of M Files. There are two versions of it. There's a desktop, and then there's a web version. I'm just running the web version for ease of use, so I don't have to have too many windows open. But this is effectively what M Files looks like. You'll notice there are no folders, there are just views. And there are views by, and this is set up in a manufacturing sense. So we've got our clients, our contracts, our projects, our main opportunities. And I thought what would best to start with would be to, let's look at how we create a document. So how that changes from creating a document inside Word, as an example. So this is kind of one of the areas of training, I guess, for new users, is to get used to the fact of starting to create documents in a much more structured way. If you want to just drop documents into M Files, that's okay as well. And we've got an AI engine at the back that analyzes that document to find out all of that information and file it automatically. That's a big part of what we're doing now as well. But let's take a look at creating a business plan for our company that we're using called Sonite, and it usually follows.
And I presume that when you have a client here, that you can have that integrated with your CRM, your database lookups, and so on. So it's not
absolutely, yeah, and that is done here. Look, you can see that. So this is connected to Salesforce. So here's Sonite. If I create a new account in Salesforce, that will also appear. So you've got that digital twin of your business here with all the current information of what's going on. You can see that there are client engagements already, and this one is automatically filling in the service line information as well. It's a field service function, and it's a deliverable to be sent to the customer. And you can also see in here that because it's created, it's already set it as a draft. But I also want to get this document approved. So my manager's Paul. I can put Paul in there. And then invariably, it's going to get signed off by the client. And Sam Sonite is the provider. So it's automatically setting up this workflow. And I can go, I'm just going to check it in immediately here so you can see what happens.
And sorry, just on those 2 points, just one. I presume our customers can configure it that we can create different workflow paths, And equally, I'm assuming that my manager, it comes from my Active Directory, or that we can configure it accordingly the way we want to have that, who signs off my documents, or can you select it from a drop-down list? I want this person to approve this document.
Absolutely, yeah. So both areas, but again, so I'm showing you the metadata on the right-hand side, the bit that we've just filled in, and again, this is connected to our our Entra ID. So all of these listings on our Entra ID are now coming fully populated into the product as well. So there'll be a full list of people there that you can add, and as you add more in your Entra ID, new employees starting, they'll get automatically added to the list. So again, it's a living, breathing twin of your business if you're connecting it to your business systems in that respect. I'm just going to very quickly copy this to one of my colleagues because I want him to co-author. I'm hoping that he's looking. He's not sitting with me in the room. So I'm just going to send him the link. But let me open this up and I can show you a little bit about what happens. And it's opening up on my other screen, of course. So let me drag that across. There we go. And there we go. So you can see at the top that this is sitting in SharePoint. Let me give you, so if I save a copy, you can see here that the current area it's sitting in SharePoint right now. So it's available to be co-authored, as you'd expect. Oh yeah, Kevin's here now. So here's Kevin. I've asked him to co-author. So, oi. Thanks, Kevin. There you go. I need to stop him typing now. Because what I really want to do is to show, because it's sitting in SharePoint, I can now go into Copilot and ask it to write my business plan or write the framework for my business plan and to do that. But whilst he's typing, it's currently grayed out. All right, let me see if I can. So that shows the co-authoring piece. And I'll get him to come out of there. But then again, I can start. Here we go. Right, he stopped typing now. So a business plan. Use it for Sonite consulting using the standard M-Files based methodology. I can usually type a lot quicker than this, people, and again, so you'll start seeing the benefits of Copilot at the back end. And again, so this is because it's sitting in SharePoint, I can Copilot it and co-author it at the same time, and you can see how that is working. All right, so that's that part of it. I don't need to be here anymore, but I'll close this down, and you can see here that the document is sitting in here. If I go to my clients very quickly, and you know that you're going to see this because it's connected with Sonite, that there's our document as well that's engaged in that structure of M-Files. All right, so let's bring my Teams in now, and please don't look at any of my messages. All right, let's see. So this is Teams. You're going to be used to that. I've got clearly Copilot running. I can interrogate Copilot based on what it can find in my work environment, which is my SharePoint, my email, and some other connectors, or I can just generally look at the web. But what I have done is I've used Copilot Studio to create my mFiles assistant. And this is slightly different. So this is an agent or a bot that's connected specifically to a curated vault that of mFiles content, and in particular the product information. So I can put in here that as a Microsoft 365 user, what are the key advantages of using mFiles? And that will then start looking at the product info vault graph and do its Copilot magic and create the answers. So whilst that's doing that, Chris, any other questions?
No, I just want to go just to so just want to confirm what you're doing here. So what you're doing here is you are accessing and accessing content within mFiles, and you've got the security that you have locked down within the mFiles data. Correct. So if I am a user, I'm using this connector, this Copilot connector, I'm only searching the content that I, as a user, am authorized to see, and that is within the mFiles content. So let's say I have a document repository of all my customer information or my policies and procedures that are specifically in there. I will see that what I'm authorized to do, but within my own content, and therefore there's no leakage. I'm not going onto the internet. I'm not going to ChatGPT. It's my own content I'm searching on.
Absolutely correct. Yeah. So we make sure that Copilot honors the security that you've got in mFiles at the moment. So again, if you're looking at maybe customer information, then a specific account manager will only have access to the documents for the customers that they're responsible for. You can lock it down to that extent.
Okay. So similarly, one is the policy and procedures for company directors on their expenses. The users can't see it, but the directors can.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's a great example. Yeah. So this is the answer. Hopefully you've had a good chance to read that and be even more impressed. But what I will do, let's take a look at the attestations. Let's call that. Let's pick one. There's mFiles pitch deck. Automation compliance. All right, let's go for this one then. So you can see, and that's why I wanted to use it in the Windows space, because it's opened up product info vault, which I talked to you about, and it's the attestation is around this executive summary. So good point. So what I really wanted to show here is keeping this metadata window open. You can see that this has gone through the draft phase, the waiting for content, and now it's fully approved. So so the vault has got lots of documents inside it, but all that we're offering up to Copilot is only approved documents. And so there's that automated workflow curation of documents. That means that Copilot is going to be using the latest and greatest document at any time.
And sorry, just to go back on that, because we kind of jumped into two different things there, right? One is we're showing the AI bit, and we can go when you have the AI engine doing the search and presenting information. We're correcting this. You can actually see the source document of that which is stored within mFiles, which you just showed, which is great. The second thing, just go back to at the very start, was the workflow process, so that you can define a workflow process. And in this case, you can see that you have that document was originally a draft waiting for content, so you got approval for whoever your manager was, and then somebody else signed off that document, and that's the final version of it. Yeah. I presume just two things on that one. One, I presume we have a full audit trail of who did what to that particular document and who signed off on it.
Absolutely.
And the second one is, as in I want that document to be approved, I presume I'm sending links to people via email to say, hey, I've got a document for you to approve this document, so that there's actions within the workflow process for me to sign off that document or get my manager to sign off on that.
There is, but those are automatic emails. So you don't have to change the status and then send an email. The system will send an email to the person that needs to approve it, and will continue to remind them until it is approved.
Okay, very good. Just one thing as well that you just mentioned, but actually when I saw it, when I've seen it a number of times, one of the bit I really like, and when we use it ourselves, is that ability to automatically index a document. So if I drop a document into a network folder, when I have named the document in a particular client folder, but we using the AI engines that mFiles have, I can actually have that document automatically indexed because it reads the content that document says, oh, I see this contact as customer XYZ, this document type is X, here's the date, here's the author, and so on. So you can automatically index it, which is quite exciting because it saves a lot of time, and it makes sure that, because we all know users are great, but they're a disaster when it comes to asking them to save documents correctly. And the second bit is the search engine is the other side of that. I can actually search for documents quite intelligently within the system.
That's correct. Yes. Yeah, you're right. So, being able to automatically file that, create that metadata, and then don't forget also that it then applies the security as well automatically. So if it's for a particular customer, then or maybe it's something that's got PII in it, then it then obeys a different security policy.
Okay.
So again, the search piece. And again, there's an advanced search area that allows you to say, I'm actually looking for a document, or I'm looking for a contract, and it needs to have this name in it. So you get a lot of contextual search to help you navigate to the content that you need very quickly.
And just on that, we can also save emails. It could be any content. We don't care. And actually, we don't care what the file types is that you save. And I know one of the things from a manufacturing perspective, because I know when we didn't have mFiles about 2 or 3 years, I lost the deal because we couldn't handle CAD files, whereas we lost the deal to mFiles because you support CAD files. I'm just conscious of we've only about 7 minutes left, and we've got a number of questions here, which I'll touch on in a second. Is there anything else that you want to show before we go and move to Q&A?
That's it for me. So I'm going to stop sharing, and then you can see more of the Abbey office in the background.
As you know, a number of our customers are actually, we are an Abbey partner. We have a number of customers on this call are actually also using Abbey. Couple of questions I have. One is licensing. How does this licensing work with Microsoft? So if I am a Microsoft Enterprise customer, how does this work? Do I buy licenses from Microsoft? How does it work with SharePoint? Is this what's the overlap?
Absolutely, yeah. So you've got your Microsoft licenses. mFiles licenses are licensed in the same way by user. And again, I won't dig into too much detail, but there are different types of users to cater for different requirements. And then I mentioned that we were going to be creating this SharePoint embedded. So that's the subscription by users. We're going to create this SharePoint embedded container inside your tenant. The cost of that is borne by the mFiles subscription. So it doesn't add on to your Azure bill in any way. So that's a really important point you raised, Chris, that it's covered by the mFiles subscription.
All right. You mentioned a number of legal sectors that you're involved in, financial services, which we've a customer on this call who's involved in that particular sector. Manufacturing, you're very strong in public, private sector. Legal, the question here, does mFiles have a presence in the legal sector? Is it an alternative to iManage and NetDocs?
Absolutely, yes, it is. Yeah, I mean, very much so. In fact, there's some large clients in all over the world that are in. So I'm sitting in London. There's one just around the corner from me, mainly in that contract management space or customer information management space. But they see a huge amount of huge amount of value in being able to have those automated processes around contracts and documentation. There's a sign-off process within mFiles that allows you to move the file to Adobe Sign or DocuSign to have it physically done. And then there's a way also of sharing documents through an external portal with clients, which is very popular in the legal sector too, so that clients can log in and see all of their current contracts.
And you've managed to answer 2 other questions there in that one go, right?
Oh, great.
Because one about DocuSign integration that I assume we can have it. Well, I know I can answer the question to this. The answer is yes. With DocuSign, that at the end of the workflow process, document can go out through Sign to DocuSign and come back. One of the issues that I don't like with DocuSign is that a lot of people, when they use DocuSign, store the documents that are signed within DocuSign. It's not a document management system. It should be put back automatically into the document repository and stored within the rest of the context of the rest of the files associated with a project. That's what we do within Inpute securely. And then you've also answered the question, which I highlighted for Chris, which is about the portal piece, that mFiles has a portal that allows, because there's a question here about I have subcontractors, can I use if we don't have authentication in our network, can I share documentation associated with them? And obviously you can within mFiles. Another question as well we have, can you predefine a workflow that can be selected at a point of creation, which has approvers, etc., defined based on content type?
Yes.
So if this is document type X or process X, can I move it?
Yes, very, very common. Thinking of Abby in terms of, invoices, accounts receivables, quite an interesting use case. So, documents come in, we put, Abby does the scanning of them, and then based on, it could be, for example, that the invoice value over 100K has to go to the CFO for sign off. Those kind of workflows can automatically be put into place. So you just put the logic into our into the engine, and it's it's not a code engine, it's a graphical engine to say, look, if this field is this, then the workflow goes over here, and you can drag those functions around.
We have a swear jar in Inpute which says scanning, because we've 99% of our documents now don't come in scanning. We have to use very careful. It's IDP, intelligent document processing.
Beg your pardon.
The wording right. A final question that came in. I'd be interested to know what the migration path would look like for a company that's using SharePoint with Power Automate for document lifecycle management. Is there a way to migrate content and metadata to mFiles, or can mFiles be pointed to existing SharePoint content? Okay, well, I can do the migration. Yes, we can migrate documents, and we're doing a significant project at the moment to migrate documents from an old version SharePoint into mFiles. But in terms of the second part, can mFiles be pointed to an existing SharePoint connector?
Yes, it can be. Yeah, so you can point it, so you don't have to move the files, and then it will kind of extract the metadata from those files. So yeah, I mean, it's more advantageous, but of course we're very much around the time to value, so we understand that migrating huge amounts of data and content is going to take a long time. So having the ability to use it in situ is a great way of getting to value a lot quicker.
Okay, I'm just conscious of the fact that we're kind of running out of time now. I just want to kind of wrap up by saying few thank yous. Thank you to Chris and Rebecca from the Inpute side, who've been involved in preparing the data. I know Chris wasn't speaking, but he's been helping me out and doing on the technical side, and Rebecca in terms of putting this session together. Particularly thanks to Nigel, who has given us the time today to present, and the partner manager with mFiles, which is Kevin, who's been great help for me in getting the stuff together. And then finally, I want to thank everybody who's attended today. We were delighted. I mean, it's one of the biggest attendees that we've had for a webinar in a long while. There's a significant number of people on this call today. What we are going to do is Rebecca is going to circulate the presentation or a copy of the slides that we had, and the voice and so on, the text, so you'll be able to listen to myself and Nigel at your own time. If you are looking for a bit more information or more data, or even a presentation of this on one-on-one, happy to do it. Reach out to the Inpute people, reach out to the account manager, which in bulk of you is probably Aidan or myself, or you could just email us directly. Myself and Nigel are both on LinkedIn, or contact us. My email address and Nigel's email address is there. We're happy to give presentations at any stage. But again, thank you so much for your time, for coming online today. I hope you found it interesting, and we look forward to talking to you again about mFiles and Microsoft over the coming weeks and months. Thank you.
Thank you very much.